Hare Krishna. Today our satsang is some questions of Arjuna. So Arjuna is putting some questions here. Let us see what questions are. Arjuna inquired, what is Brahma, what is self, what are fruitative activities, what is this material manifestation, and what are demigods. He further made that, how does the Lord of Sacrifice lives in the body? Which part does he lives? How can those engaged in devotional service can know you at the time of death? So the important questions here put by Arjuna are, what is this living entity is? Number one. Number two, what is his eternal nature and what is karma? So let us discuss these three things today. So Lord is telling the supreme transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is spiritual, and actions pertaining to the development of the body is called karma. Now let us understand this very briefly. Three things are there. One is physical body, what we are presently experiencing. One is consciousness, by which this body is prevailing. And another thing is this material nature, through which this body and consciousness is surviving. So Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna here has made some distinction. He had made a distinction between body and consciousness. He says the transcendental living entity is Brahman, that is Brahma. Means Lord Krishna wants to say that it is not the body. This also means that we are not the bodies. We are transcendental living entities. In other way, we are the consciousness which is charging the body with life. So these two things are not complementary, they are contradictory, we can say. Because Krishna wants to say that the karma is pertaining to the development of the body, not to the development of a soul. So this body, Krishna wants to say, is different thing from that soul. It is, for example, you can take it an example of TV and electricity current. Both are living at one place. Both got of mixed with each other. But still, the current is different from the TV and its components. You can't say TV is current. Neither current is TV. Although TV is dependent on current. So in another way, we also can say that if we compare both of them, the current is superior because the TV is dependent on that. Current is not dependent on TV. In the same manner, the body is dependent on soul, consciousness, and soul is not dependent on any body. This also means that we are superior to the body and its components, its parts. Even in the last chapter, slokas of the second chapter, Krishna says that intelligence is higher than the mind is higher than the senses, and senses are higher than the body. So, but the soul is even higher than the intelligence. So what I mean to say is, we belong to a superior quality that is called consciousness. We do not belong to the inferior quality of body, which is perishable, which is temporary, and which has been given to us for a temporary period. And all karmas are pertaining to body, not to the soul. Then what soul wants? Because in what we have seen is only karma, nothing beyond that. We only know work, we know action. So soul demands bhakti. As the fruit is the thrust of the body, sensual pleasure is the thrust of the body, the thrust of the soul is bhakti, bhakti to Lord Krishna. So, feeling superior to all these things and feeling these material pleasures as insignificant to us, and for seeking spiritual pleasure, if you adopt bhakti, then you are situated in your original constitutional position. Otherwise, the mistake will occur, that is the misgivings of the mind. You will feel the pleasure of the body to be the pleasure of consciousness, and by bewildering yourself, you may engage yourself in sense and sense gratification, and by which you will never get satisfied. Because the sensual pleasure is the highest sensual pleasure of these worlds is very insignificant when compared to the thrust of the soul. Soul is extremely joyful. Its quality is Satchitananda. It always wants joy. And material sensual pleasures have a beginning and an end. First they come with hardships, and even they come to you, they will not last long. They are perishable. So, my dear friends, considering your nature to be superior to all these things and feeling transcendental to body, mind, intelligence and senses, and feeling yourself transcendental, you should control this lower self by the higher self. And with the spiritual enemy, with the spiritual strength, you should conquer this spiritual enemy known as lust first. Then after conquering the lust, with a peaceful mind, you should take the bhakti yoga, chanting the Lord's name, associating with the devotees, and hearing the glories of the Lord. These things will give you spiritual pleasure, and there you will be satisfied. That is the Krishna consciousness. So be spiritual, adopt bhakti yoga, and try to give up the sense gratification as much as possible. These simple things. Thank you, and Hare Krishna.